if that's of a negative connotation, it can spiral backwards because now when you go out there and face the Goliath, that man, and things don't work out that way. Now I'm looking at Nadira like, hey, well, you told me. And Nadira says, well, I'm just only giving you my experience from my level of understanding because every situation is different. So my point is, just like I shared with a friend of mine that there was a lady, I think in that Pennsylvania area, where she kind of egged on her boyfriend to commit suicide, right?
Oh, when I saw, when you sent me that, I looked at that and I thought, wow, that is a perfect example of what you're talking about. Like,
people don't understand it like that. It's a precedented case, kind of almost first time in history. Whereas, I think she pled guilty because now I guess her fiance or boyfriend had called her and she egged him on to go ahead and commit suicide. Well, now, she got charged. Well, you say, well, she wasn't there. She didn't do it. He did it. Yes. But again, you got to understand, right? So why does it say in Proverbs, right? There's life or death is in the power of the tongue. So now society, this same thing we talk about, society is starting to hold people accountable, not for their actions only, for their words. See?
Good. That's good.
For their words, right? So now you look at his situation, right? So now if you say to yourself, well, I'm not afraid of no man or nobody's going to do anything to me. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? There is a higher power. There's a higher power that's going to hold all of us accountable, not just Kevin. It's going to hold all of us accountable through our words. It's critical, right? So I don't never get into a debate about the things that Kevin Samuels stated. Why? Because he had the right? This is the free country, right? He has a right to say it. We have a right to listen or not listen. It's not a dictatorship, right? So if you choose to listen to him, that's your choice.
Right.
Okay, that's one side of it. Well, the other side of it is now that you gathered an audience, I'm the speaker now. I gathered an audience. I have a responsibility. See, I don't hear nobody talking about that.
Right.
You have a responsibility for your words, right? Now, in that case that I sent you, guess what? The court system held that young lady accountable.
Wow.
Okay. Now let's say she got through the courts. There's another level of accountability, right? So my advice, if you will, to individuals that's listening is always be mindful that when you speak to an individual, right, to be accountable to your words, because words have life. Words have death. You know why? If you don't believe me, anybody that's listening, think back to when you was young. There were words that somebody said to you, a father, a mother, an auntie, a cousin. There were words that was said to you that still permeate and ring in your consciousness and your subconsciousness 20, 30, 40 years later. That unfortunately, some of us still are regulating and guiding our lives based upon what somebody else said.
And it's funny because I was sitting up here and I was looking at what Proverbs 12:18, it says, there is one whose rash words are like sword thrusts, but the tongue of the wise bring healing. So I think it's important, not so much, because there are so many examples of, because there's always a balanced view of it. Because sometimes you can tell people the truth with the right intention, and sometimes no matter how truthful you tell it to them, depending on the state and where they at the time, truth is one of the hardest things to accept. Truth is bitter when it's going in, but it's sweet when it gets in, right? Truth doesn't mean, and I'm not saying that everything that he said was truth, but it does make you real. There's a balance side of it. You can sometimes have the right delivery and still bring but depending on the state and where, because there's some people that he did get advice to that were able to say, hey, well, I disagree with you with that. And he said, well, that's fine. That is up to you. But you have to get to a point where you have to defend who you are and know who you are, so that you're not so easily hurt or daggered by what other people say. Because sometimes, I mean, the reality is we live in a world where people hearts are cold. You know, they'll say things to you and stab you in your throat while they're talking to you, and there's absolutely nothing. You know, you can spend your life trying to defend yourself all day long. But what I've learned is, as an individual, the best position is to make sure that you're healed, make sure that you're doing the internal work, so that when people like Kevin Samuels come and it starts to look from the outside or start to feel like your inner man is being insulted, or the core of who you are being insulted, you've got to get to a point where you say, you know what, I just simply don't agree with you. Everybody has the right to express what they feel is valid according to their opinion, right? But what you don't have a right to is, unless I give you the permission, you don't have a right to make me come into agreement with your views about me. So but I also have to understand that when I open myself up to ask somebody else about how they view me, then you're opening yourself up for the daggers, because you're asking somebody who is not your maker. You're asking somebody who doesn't understand the blueprint for your life to explain to you what's best for you.
Yeah. See, an individual that has that philosophy would never call into the show.
Right.
Right. Because why are you going to call in and ask a question and then debate what you know? Right. The only reason why individuals kind of call in is to try to get a better or a heads up, you know, or some insight on their situation. Right. That's because they're just not so sure. Right. And that's so you gotta understand, we live in a negative society, right? Just society as a whole. It's just a negative society. Okay, cool. Right. So you understand that. Okay. And then a lot of things are sensationalized, right? Why did the drama of reality TV, right? And you can pick any show. Why did it take off? Right? Why is that drama sensationalized? Right? And it's negative, right? You know, like there's a small part that you can learn from that's positive, but the majority is negative. But that's what millions and millions and millions of people tune into.
That's what they tune
right?
into.
So it's not hard. It's not hard to get into that stream, right? And continue on with that blueprint, right? And you can use the term keeping it real, right? Like they always say, keeping it 100, right? But it's sensationalized, it's glorified, right? And you're going to get people coming on. Why? Because there's going to be some harshness. There's going to be some back and forth. There's going to be somebody, you know, demeaning somebody. There's going to be some controversy. Well, that's what attracts people, Nadira.
Yes.
That's what pulls people in. Right. So now that's a choice. So everybody has a level of accountability. But there's different choices that's going on simultaneously. Right. But again, anytime anybody is in the front, meaning like you're a influencer, right? You're a leader. You're this. Look at Will Smith, you know, as well as Chris Rock, right? Like look at that whole scenario, right? There's accountability that has to happen,
right?
And look at so Will Smith smacked Chris Rock. Okay, now guess what? If Will Smith would have sat down after that, everybody would have been wondering what was going on. But what was the lasting factor? What he said. Right? Not necessarily what he did. See, what he said it drove it home. But if Peter sat down and if he didn't say anything, people would have been wondering what it was all about.
Mm-hmm.
But because of his words
Right.
that came after that, it solidified his emotions.
Mm.
So at every and that just came off the top of my head, right? So you got to understand, like at every junction, our words we have to be accountable for. Our words are powerful. Our words have meaning. They have life or death.
Right.
Right. And that's the most significant part about any person that's in a position to give advice, me included. I'm no exception, you included.
Absolutely.
Right. The platform may not be as large as of yet, but it's still our responsibility to understand the significance of what your words are, the powerfulness behind your words. That's why, we always talking about, me and my partners, like, subduing our passion, right? Like not always being charged to go out and do certain things, right? Can you absorb certain things and still be, right? And not have to react to everything that's being thrown at you or being stated.
Right. And then too, you can't take away the responsibility to an individual to do the internal work. You can ask people hundreds of questions all day long. What does the other person think? How do they feel? It's not about you. You can spend I think people spend an unconsiderable amount of time wondering what the other person thinks, what they're doing, how they're acting, so that they can adjust their attitude or their gestures or their moods or their behavior to the other individual. But I feel like when you take time to work on you, figure out the things, when you begin to look at your relationships, all right, because whether we want to agree or not, people are going to go in and out of relationships, in and out of marriages, however they want. You're not going to have people stopping when it comes to the area of relationships. So it takes time. If this is an area that everybody is so heavily invested in, you have to take time because you're part of the relationship, right? So if you're the common denominator in the majority of the issues that you're facing in your relationship, you have to take the time to evaluate pockets of insecurity, evaluate areas of deficiency, evaluate areas of communication issues, because that's really the downfall of relationships. The downfall of relationship is communication above anything, even above money. It's communication, because I think when you have communication, you can talk about no matter what area it is in your life, whether it's money, whether it's raising children. Communication is the bottom foundation of acting with relationships. We're trying to get all the other stuff situated, and we're not looking at the person that is a part of the relationship. You are a part of the relationship. So if you are a part of the relationship, it is also your responsibility to do the inward work. I stopped that a long time ago, Thomas. I stopped to figure out, what do men think about this? Well, how do men think in terms of this? No. I don't do that anymore, because I started spending an enormous amount of time watching videos, doing all this stuff, listening to men talk about how men think and how this and this, and it was consuming, and I was still having the same issues. You know why? Because I was still in I'm a part of the relationship. And as long as I'm a part of the relationship, I have to evaluate how I show up in the relationship. And the only way you know how you show up is because we're not on the other end of our actions and our words.
See, I'm gonna go one level deeper, man. I know we don't got much time, but I wish I had an opportunity to sit down and talk to that brother. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because I would ask him, is this area, right? Because he got kind of caught into a relationship. Is that where he felt he wanted to be? And I would really ask him that honest question. Why? Because Les Brown said it one time. Les Brown said, I would never let a bald man tell me how to grow hair, and I would never let a broke person tell me how to make money. Okay, so now think about that. If individuals are listening to him about relationship advice, shouldn't they judge him based upon his relationship? If he's not in a committed relationship,
that's
right?
good.
Now you have a choice to listen to somebody who's telling you something that they're not living.
Yes.
Right. So talk about that. So I would ask him, right? Did he actually see himself there? Or because I don't know, his early history, or, was he just doing podcasts or something and actually having dialogue and having conversation, and it caught on. And then the more he spoke his truth, the more people listened in. And then next thing you know, he had, 1.4 million followers. See, now, if that's the case, that's a little bit different, right? Because if you are talking about individuals and those individuals wanting to have a relationship, wouldn't you first talk to somebody who has what you want?
Right. That's the problem, though. I think nowadays, if you look at the majority of the relationship guru people, they're the ones that's giving the most. And I don't know if it's based out of their experiences and what they've gone through, but I am learning that if you want a healthy relationship, you need to talk to people who are in healthy relationships. Because, and I'm not saying we don't have anything, because I've been married and now single, so I can talk about my experience being a married woman. And my husband died, so I got kicked out of I got disqualified when my husband died. But I did have enough information to be able to share. But when it becomes when you start to spend your career, should I say, on giving advice in an area you are not successful in, it can be questionable. What does that used to tell me? Anything that hasn't been done is questionable, but anything that you have done is considered provable, right?
Yeah, you can speak from it. You can speak from it. So think about that, right? If you pay attention to what's going on out there in the marketplace, a lot of individuals who are married and talking about relationships are talking to other people who are in relationships, right? If the single individuals wanted to get into a relationship, don't you think it'll be beneficial, right? I choose my words wisely. Don't you think it would be beneficial to sit under a tutelage of individuals that are in a relationship? Right now, I'm not saying a good relationship, bad relationship, because relationships have their ups and downs, right? But if you want to be in a relationship, if you sit under and listen to a single person, a person that's not in a relationship, that's just a conversation, right? That's just a discussion, right? But if you're taking what they're saying to be the gospel, I question the source, because I would ask a simple question. Okay, if everything that you're telling me is true, why aren't you in a committed relationship? It's a simple question, right? We got a Facebook person that says, why is it that people with no experience have authority to speak on something they don't know?
They don't.
It's dangerous. I'm telling you.
Yes, Bobby. It's dangerous.
But they found a stream. Stay with me. They found a stream. It's almost like I'm finding or discovering lost sheep. Right? Now, hey, if it's lost sheep and they hear a voice, and if you have something that you feel that you can help them, you might just put yourself in a position to help them. It don't make you a bad person. It really don't. It doesn't make you a bad person. I just question individuals that's out there who are looking to have a relationship. Why aren't they listening to individuals who are in a relationship?
Because that's because we've taken things like relationship. You got to realize everything is generated around audience. And like you said earlier, people they gravitate to the negativity part of it, right? So it's easy. I'm just waiting for my camera to come by. I had a call that came through, so it's coming through. It's just adjusting. But that's what happened is we are become so accustomed to talking from areas. It's a big business. Relationships and when it comes to relationship and money, it's a huge business. So now everybody has their part in it, right? I'm not saying that being married and no longer being in a relationship that you don't have off that you don't off that you can offer advice to somebody who is looking to a relationship. But as far as giving advice is in terms of the sustainability of a relationship, I'm not taking advice from you because if I know I want to be married, I'm going to because the one thing I realized, and it's just in my research, Thomas. I realized that there is no huge secret to long-term marriage. The only secret is the willingness to stay, making the decision every moment, right?
Yeah.
Not because some days it's going to be harder than the other, right?
Facts.
You have to make you have to be in a situation where you have to make a decision every day. I'm going to stick in here. There's no magic. The only magic the decision to say I'm going to make a decision because I made a covenant. I made a commitment.
Yeah. Now I'm going to speak on two things. I'm going to speak on that, and then I'm going to speak on what we talked about before because people are going crazy on Facebook here.
Yeah.
I say this to a lot of people, right? About commitment, making a decision, and being married, right? So myself and my wife, we've been married for this year be 27 years. Okay. Mm-hmm. We've been together for 35 years.
Wow.
And this is what I tell individuals about relationships and about marriage. And this is something that people don't talk about. The longer you're married, the harder it is to be married. Mm-hmm. Why? You would think the opposite. You would think the longer you're married, the easier it gets, but it doesn't. Why? Mm-hmm. Because now every day you have to make a conscious decision to continuously pour into that relationship.
Right.
Because the dynamics change. And because the dynamics change, now it's a conscious decision. Before you're going to be together, but the longer and the more you're together, the harder it is to be together. Number two, I did a Facebook Live yesterday. Now, those that know me, that follow me, I do Facebook Lives typically on Sunday mornings, right? Mm-hmm. So I did a Facebook Live yesterday on what day?
On a Sunday.
Mother's Day.
On Mother's Day.
Sunday, yep. Mother's Day, right? Mm-hmm. So what did I do? I introduced myself, I talked about the sacrifice that mothers sacrifice in order to do their job. Mm-hmm. So guess what I did? Mm-hmm. I had my wife there to talk to people about the sacrifice of a mother. Why? Because I can talk about the experience, but realistically, I'm not qualified. Why? Because I'm not a mother. Now, on Father's Day, I can talk all day.
Right.
But on Mother's Day, I gave the mic to my wife. She said, "Yes, Coach Taylor, marriage is a decision. I've been married for 43 years.
Yes. Right?
Congratulations, man.
That's amazing.
No joke. It's a real commitment. It's a real decision. But again, so my wife spoke about the sacrifice it took to raise her children, right? The sacrifice and what she was dealing with when she stayed home. Right? Like, and so her coworker had a message today. She's like, man, she said, you and your husband need to do a podcast, right? She said, hey, we got one coming. Just to talk about our experiences as a married couple. Mm-hmm. See, like the individual just said, she's been married for 43 years. Mm-hmm. They have a story that single people can listen to. Why? Because when and if you do get into a relationship, how do you stay?
Right.
How do you manage?
Right. That's right.
How do you go through the ups and downs, the bumps and bruises, this thing called life, and still keep moving?
Right.
My wife always says something. She says, when you're in a committed relationship, when you've been together for so long, you have to like the individual before you really can love them. Why? Ooh. Because if you like them, you like being around them. You like their jokes, right? You like silly things. If you don't like somebody, pretty difficult to love them if you don't like them, right? So from a relationship standpoint, right, individuals need to talk to other individuals who are where they want to be, who are where they say they want to go, right? if you're talking to, or if you're looking for information on somebody who hasn't done it or is not there, I question that. Because it's just talk. What vantage point are they talking from? Right? If they're just talking about what they had, okay, so where are you now? She said it's hard work. Yeah, just like everything else is hard work. But it's a daily, constant decision. Right? It's constantly. You have to make that conscious decision. It's just like losing weight, right? Like I'm on a nutritional diet now because I want to lose 10 pounds, right? Well, it's every day. I brought some cookies from Sam's, man. That's my kryptonite, man. You know what I mean? But I had enough room in my diet to have one. I snuck 2 in there, right? It's a conscious decision. How much do I care about losing weight today versus eating that chocolate chip cookie? It's the decision, ladies and gentlemen, man. It's a decision. So again, and we want to keep in mind that even though Kevin Samuels passed away, he has a mom's, man, that still lost a son, you know what I'm saying? Family, children, like all of those things. We our hearts pour out, we give our condolences to his family as well as his loved ones, man. Don't overshadow that with what the controversy is about the man. It's still a loss, it's another Black man that's gone, But again, it's a conscious decision. She make a smiling face. It's a conscious decision, you guys. Right. And always saying this, at a certain point in your tenure, we have to be accountable for our words. Right. On any platform. Like, don't think the platform that you're on now, you may be talking to your coworkers, or you may have a following on Facebook, on Instagram, that you're not accountable. When you get that stage, I say my advice would be, lead and finish with a positive affirmation. Give people hope, right? One of my favorite scriptures, again, Hebrews 11:1, right? It says, now, faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen.
Yes.
So if you're out there and if you're in a position of leadership, you guys, all I'm asking is give people hope. That's it. Even if their reality, you feel their reality is a little bit different.
Absolutely.
Just leave them with some hope. Just leave them with some hope.
And I think too, we have to realize we are so quick to give our opinion when it comes to, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be able to discuss what we feel, but we have to realize that the same grace that is giving to us is giving to other people too. God doesn't split his grace and say, I'm not gonna give you no grace, I'm gonna give her some grace. We are all under the same auspices of grace. What I think I've learned is that this is like you said, an approach to make sure that a reminder, should I say, is to watch your words, because your words you are going to be accountable for your words, right? It doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you don't still speak what's true. It just means that you have to make sure that the spirit behind what you're saying is not with the intent to offend somebody deliberately, because guess what? Truth is gonna hurt anyway, because I did a meme some years ago, and I said I was talking about the truth. I said the truth will piss you off first, right? It will first piss you off, and it's like that. Sometimes we put ourselves in situations we don't even realize we put ourselves in situations for people to tell us exactly how stupid we look. If you've been in a relationship where, you really kind of made yourself look bad. You've been in relationships where you've allowed, certain things to happen to you, and then you ask somebody what do they think about you put yourself in a position to you put yourself in a position so you have to make sure that you have to stop going to people. They are not your manufacturer. They can't tell you how to function, right? They don't understand the plan and provisions for your life. So to go to another person and say, what do you think? Well, what do you think? Well, what do you think? They can't tell you anything because they didn't create you. So God didn't have a conference call with them when it came to your life, So I think you have,
you gotta understand, like everybody's not spiritual, man. You know what I mean? Like if they don't know what their creator stated to them, they just going by emotions. You know what I mean? Like this individual said, absolutely, my purpose is to help followers feel better about themselves, right? So you're accountable, right? And that's a beautiful thing. You're accountable to that. You know, and I had a conversation with a partner of mine. I said it's something that, you know, and I'm gonna leave on this. You gotta understand, attention is like a drug, right? The more attention people get, it's like a drug. There's certain things that happen within the body that suck people in once they get that attention.
Yeah.
Right. So now if you understand that, like we don't know what it was actually doing for him based upon his quality of life.
Right.
So if it really got a hook in his mouth, and he really caught some momentum behind it, now, unfortunately, he has to stay in that groove because he's going to keep needing that fix. He's going to keep needing that fix. If he moves, if he changes now, he may not get that same feeling. Right. For him as an individual, because it's like a drug. There was so much attention that was put on him. You know what I mean? So we have to really kind of understand, sometimes we put ourselves in a position where we're not ready for it, right? We're not actually, you know, quote unquote, spiritually grounded, if you will. Right. So, you know, individuals out there that's listening, your coaches, life coaches, inspirational speakers, things of that nature. When you're out there giving your message and giving your story, just really understand the people that you actually can impact based upon your words, right? So always make a conscious decision to try to put yourself in a situation where you're finishing with a positive affirmation of some sort of hope, right? Even if you say to yourself that, man, that individual, they a hopeless cause, or they're useless, or you're never gonna find it, right? Even if you think that, right? And even if you tell them that, okay, because that's the keeping it real part of it, leave them with something that they can look forward to. Why? Jim Rohn talks about this, and they asked Jim Rohn, you know, what is the key to greatness? And he said the key to greatness is service. Okay, that's number one. So if you're in a position to serve, that can make you great because you serve. But then the other thing, you know, Jim Rohn talked about, he said the greatest pull. Now hear me out. He said the greatest pull is a pull of the future. So if you understand the greatest pull is a pull of the future, when you listen to an individual like Kevin Samuels and other people that's out there, what are they talking about, you guys? They're talking about the past. The person is giving them their past history, and they're making a determination based upon their past.
That's good.
Right? Because nobody know the future. Right? Yeah, affirming someone is hopeless isn't our assign or define. See? Yeah, you don't know the future, right? And look at him, he's not even here to defend himself because the future showed up. The future showed up. So if you're pulling from the future in terms of not who they are, not who they were, but who they could be, it's a different message. See, you're gonna get me hype and make me get out there and start a YouTube channel, man.
Yes, make sure you go get out there and start him at TaylorYourDreams.com.
Start a YouTube channel.
Taylor Your Dreams.
Yeah, that's the pull. It's the pull of the future. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And who knows that? You don't know the future. So again, you know, give somebody hope. Give somebody hope. Give somebody something that's bigger than their past. Right. That's brighter than their past.
Right.
Except gloom and doom. Where are you getting that from? You're getting that from their past.
Right. And if you're no longer that person, then anything regarding my past does not apply to me today. And I so agree with that. I wanted to read this, and I know we're going to go ahead and end the broadcast because we'll be here all day. This is such a good topic. And Proverbs 13:3 says, if anyone thinks he is religious and doesn't bridle his tongue, but deceives his heart, this person's religion is worthless. So I think, and I said that because when you were talking about your words being accountable. It doesn't mean you have to walk around soft and like a little fluffy cookie or fluffy tissue. It just means that you have to make sure that your reasons behind what you do, because nobody can judge our intent of why we do what we do. We can only judge the words that come from your mouth. We can't judge your intent. Only God can do that. But I think what happens is that it does make you aware that now, look, this man has got up the next day, and now the only thing that's left to remember of him is his words, right? Now they're exploiting him based on his personal finances, what he had left, who he was with. Your life will be your greatest witness. Your words will confirm. Your words should confirm what your life teaches, right? So now he's gone, right? Now all the messages, they'll probably have more viewership now for people that have never heard of him, because the blogs and everybody.
That's what Bobby said. Who was Kevin Samuels?
Kevin Samuels is a YouTuber who has 1.4 million followers on YouTube, who was an image consultant for men, Black men, and has, since that time frame, he has opened up a door. He's become a relationship guru based on women asking him questions in regards to how men think and what men want in relationships. So he has been known more so for what he has done now than what he's done in the past, which in the past he has so many videos, but this is the only focus is what he's left recently. And his most trending topic, Bobby, his most trending topic was women being average over the age of 35, which was actually a partial quote. He was actually talking about in another country that women over the age of 35 was considered to be average. So people kind of have taken that clip and it has gone viral.
So hey, last words for me is anybody that's out there listening, man, take some time to actually encourage somebody else, right? Because you just never know where people are, right? And don't base that upon their financial situation, right? Because you got, multimillionaires committing suicide, right? And all different genres, right? Because you never know what's going on with a person inside, right? Internally, right? So when you speak, understand and try to speak from a place of just kind of being neutral, right? And just giving somebody some hope, right? Just say some encouraging words. If you have an opportunity, if you have a platform, encourage somebody today, right? Because there's enough negativity in the world. If you don't open your mouth, there's still a war going on in Ukraine, right? It's still going on, right? If you don't open your mouth, there's still people killing and shooting each other in whatever city you're in. Right. So when you open your mouth and you have an opportunity to speak life, choose life instead of death. Right. You just might save somebody's life. Right. And then, they'll be saying different things about you, different things about myself. Right. Because you put yourself in a position because you had a platform and you help somebody, you speak life into somebody, right? And that's how we can change the narrative, Nadira, right? Just little by little. This is a platform, right? Just to encourage people to be better than you were yesterday. And then, you know what? Along the way, help somebody else. That's it. Help somebody else.
Absolutely.
All right, Mr. Nadira, it's on you.
All right.
Close this out.
Well, there you go. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. If you have not joined the Wisdom Clinic, make sure you go to NadiraLewis.com. You can also join us if you're watching us in the Dinner with the Coaches group. Make sure you put some comments and let us know what you think. If you are, we got another comment. Somebody else is talking. Somebody says, thanks for allowing me to comment. Love you.
Wow.
Coach Taylor, conversation was fire. Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. Make sure if you're not a part of Dinner with the Coaches group also, make sure you hit in the comments, add me. We are going to have more candid conversations like this. If you are a coach and you need someone to help you become accountable for your words, make sure you reach out to Coach and we may be able to bring you on our show, Dinner with the Coaches, so we can coach you into your futures. Thank you guys for watching. Will you promise me to have an amazing day today?
Amen.